Vincent van Gogh. He is one of the greatest and most admired artists in the world. Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853, to his mother Anna and his father Theo in the Dutch village of Groot-Zundert in Noord-Brabant or the Netherlands. His father was a Protestant minister. Van Gogh was the oldest of 6 children: Theo, Cor, Anna, Elizabeth, and Wilhelmina, and together with his parents, they formed an upper-middle-class family. Van Gogh attended boarding school in Zevenbergen and began drawing at a young age. Before long, he was able to speak Dutch, French, English, and German languages fluently. At 15 years old, because his family was struggling financially, he was forced to quit school and he began to work at his uncle's art dealership in The Hague and later in London. While he was still in London in 1873, Van Gogh had a first love that was one-sided with his landlord's daughter. Her rejection caused him to experience his first violently psychotic episode. As a result, he shut out the world and became interested in literature, mainly writings by Charles Dickens and George Eliot, and mostly in religion, and he was fired from his art gallery job. Van Gogh could never find peace of mind, and his relationships always failed. He intensely studied the Bible. However, he antagonized most everyone he came in contact with, and criticized people's morals and customs in the church. He tried to become a preacher, but he wasn't accepted when he applied to the School of Theology in Amsterdam. He also tried becoming a schoolmaster in England, and later worked as a missionary in Belgium with the impoverished miners until he was also asked to leave that position. By this time in his life, he was deserted by everyone and by everything, including religion. 1880 was the year of a turning point in Van Gogh's life. This was when he moved to Brussels, Belgium, and he realized his creative powers and his calling as an artist. This was when he got serious about teaching himself and learning perspective, anatomy, drawing, and color. He had virtually no formal training in art. However, he had a critical and an antisocial attitude, and people who came to know him struggled to deal with his moods and his strange behavior. 1883. He is poor and he returns to live with his parents in Nuenen, Netherlands, even though his relationship with them is not good. This is when he was painting dark landscapes and scenes of farmers and peasant life, where he focused on the work and suffering of mankind. He is known for landscapes, portraits, and still lifes. He created many self-portraits because he couldn't afford a model, and also he claimed to take on the challenge to create a deeper likeness of himself than the photographer could do. He led a tortured life as he struggled with depression and mental illness, so he found that painting and drawing helped to keep him emotionally balanced. He wrote almost 800 letters, many of which including drawings throughout his life, mainly to his brother and closest friend, Theo. In 1855, he started to work on Potato Eaters, which is believed to be his first masterpiece. His brother Theo felt that this particular painting was too dark and it would not be approved of in Paris, because Impressionism had become important there. In 1886, he left his parents' home and his native land for the last time. In 1886, Van Gogh moved to Paris, where he lived with his brother Theo, who was running an art gallery there. It was in Paris where Van Gogh was first exposed to Impressionist art, and its color and light inspired him. He studied for a short time with artists such as Camille Pissarro and Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. However, he alienated most all artists because he argued with them about their work. The mid-1880s was the beginning of post-impressionism period. The artists, including Paul Gauguin and Van Gogh, placed an emphasis on formal order and structure and symbolic content. They thickly applied paint with strong brush strokes. Color was believed to have an emotional and aesthetic meaning, and Van Gogh used it in his later works. He was fascinated with Japanese art. He began studying it, and he longed to travel there. 1889. He admitted himself to an asylum or mental hospital near Saint Remy, France, to recover from his nervous breakdown that led to the ear-cutting incident. He painted Starry Night while he was in the asylum, during a time when his behavior was quite erratic and unpredictable. He preferred to paint outdoors, and when it got too dark, he attached lit candles to his straw hat and on his easel. However, he painted Starry Night from his bedroom window. The sleeping village has brightly lit windows to depict a sense of comfort, while the contoured forms in the night sky represent his troubled journey to overcome his mental illness. The cypress tree is symbolic of the bridge that exists between life and death. Today, this painting is worth in excess of $100 million, and it is part of the permanent collection at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, New York. 1890. He moved again just outside Paris, where Dr. Paul Gaucher agrees to take him on as a patient. Van Gogh's work becomes very erratic. His sense of space changes, and his attitude toward nature changes. Loneliness takes over him, and he doesn't want to leave the house. Dr. Gaucher watches over him, but Van Gogh commits suicide by shooting himself in the chest and dies 2 days later at the young age of 37. His life was brief and tormented. Van Gogh led a life of continual poverty, and he was never famous during his lifetime as a painter. The only painting that sold during his life is entitled The Red Vineyards. It's presently located in Moscow at the Pushkin Museum. The remainder of his nearly 900 paintings that he produced in less than 10 years' time were not even made famous until years after his death. Today, there are several places to view works by Van Gogh. In Amsterdam, the Dutch government has devoted the Rijksmuseum Vincent van Gogh entirely to the life and works of Van Gogh. His painting entitled Boulevard de Clichy is one of many displayed there. Wheatfield with Crows is also in Amsterdam and is one of Van Gogh's last pieces. The angry brushstrokes may be connected to his turbulence and upcoming suicide, along with the blackbirds portraying an omen. In Arlo, Netherlands, at the Rijksmuseum Kröller-Müller, one can view the Langwa Bridge with women washing. This bridge was a favorite one of Van Gogh's to draw and paint, and he discovered it on his travels near Arles, France. In New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art, in the Musée d'Orsay, located in Paris, and in Chicago's Art Institute, there are many pieces of Van Gogh's on display, including self-portraits. Van Gogh was quoted as saying, "Real painters do not paint things as they are. They paint them as they themselves feel them to be." This is one of the most important ideas that can be learned from him, that art can express the feelings and inner world of an artist.